Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the transit Mercury in Gemini. What's interesting with this transit, it makes its transition from more stubborn and obstinate Taurus into Gemini, and they're almost opposites, because when the Mercury transits Taurus, people's thinking can be very one-track mindish. It's very intractable and really can be very methodical in terms of arriving at a decision. And when you have Mercury transit Gemini, the mind of others can often move a lot faster, more rapidly, arrive at a decision much quicker, and be very quick-witted and very communicative. And during this time, it may be a lot easier, since Mercury is in its dignity, in its natural signs, one of its natural signs, the other one, of course, Virgo. Well, Mercury being transiting Gemini, people might express themselves in a much more eloquent and verbose way, and it could be during this time that people can talk and express themselves in a very more perspicacious manner, in a very clear and lucid manner. And this could be a time, too, where people are a lot more inquisitive. They're desiring to learn a lot of information, though what they learn might be on a superficial level. When Mercury transits Gemini, it's more about learning a little about various subjects. The mind can be very versatile, though, during this time. And you may find that during this time when Mercury transits Gemini, that people that were a lot more reticent, more taciturn, more quiet on average, might be a lot more loquacious and talkative than they ordinarily are. So that's something to look at when Mercury does transit Gemini. And this could be a period, too, when Mercury transits Gemini. This could be a time, too, where people might want to learn things that are connected with dexterity. Gemini is a sign associated with things that are doing things that are really by being dexterous, such as refrigeration repair or auto mechanic repair. This could be a time where you might find yourself doing things more when you're doing a lot of work that strongly emphasizes the use of the hands and requires a lot of dexterity. And you may want to learn things that are connected with that, too, as I stated before, such as auto mechanics, such as refrigeration type repair and mechanical work, and just mechanical work in general, actually. Now, the thing about it is there can be difficulty with persistence in thought during this time, because when Mercury transits Gemini, it's really, as I stated before, it could be about a lot of superficial learning, and the mind can be very bored and very restless during this time. The mind can be very active, but once it learns maybe a little bit about one subject, people just maybe want to go on to the next subject. And really, it can be really like the mind can be kind of racing a little bit during this time, darting from one subject to another. And what's interesting, too, during this time, now a lot of places in the United States anyway, I know that when people are graduating high school or getting near that time, Mercury is often transiting Gemini. And during this time, a lot of people are trying to get the best grades possible, trying to assimilate a lot of information, and sometimes in a rather short period of time. It's a lot of mental work during this time. It's really a lot about really trying to learn subjects the best you can, and studying a lot what you've learned up until that point, and trying to get it to where you actually can attain that best final grade as you possibly can. And a lot of this, I think, has to do with the Gemini influence during this time. And the Sun is in Gemini as well during this time in a lot of places in the United States when it gets close to people graduating. And really, this is also, when you look at the Mercury transiting Gemini, this could be a time too when the mind might be a little bit more mischievous during this time. People might be more apt to play a little practical joke on someone or two, such as like a whoopee cushion or hand buzzer, and things of that nature, doing things that what I use is a word I like to use is trickeration, which I know doesn't really, I don't think that word it actually exists, but you understand what I'm saying, doing things that are tricky and really, and just like playing, sometimes fooling people just in a playful way, not necessarily in a malicious way, but doing it in a mischievous way, in a way that's playful, such as doing things to your friends, such as like using a hologram or something and just trying to fool somebody just to mess with them. So those are some things to look at as far as Mercury transiting Gemini. And this too, during this time, you might really also be apt to talk about a lot of different subjects during this time. As I stated before, the mind can be a lot more restless than it is in other zodiac signs as far as Mercury goes. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the transit Mercury in Gemini, and stay tuned next time where I will be talking about the transit Mercury in Cancer. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.